My name is Maya Sivak, and I am here probably for the same reason as you guys are. We are here because we have been saved by the grace of Jesus Christ. And we have a deep longing within to manifest the vision of God on earth. We know that we have been born, created, and saved for a much bigger vision than we can comprehend in our daily lives. We are here because we are dissatisfied with just living our day-to-day lives. We are tired of living our lives on a mediocre mindset view of the world that Satan wants us to believe. We are ready for much, much more, to step into our roles in our businesses as service to God's kingdom. In order to have a little idea about the character of a biblical entrepreneur, we cannot avoid but have to look at the personal character of King Solomon. And there is a lot of myth and stories and fables going around about him. History has researched a certain aspect of King Solomon that takes us into to be one-sided about who he really was. He deserves the respect of a much deeper look. Though he was by tradition known as the wisest man who ever lived, to documentation, we recognize that he was also the most rebellious and most foolish man who ever lived. Because all the gifts and advances that God had given to him, he squandered it. Just wanting to please a woman, he has been lured into idolatry and lost his relationship with God. He started out as a very well-rounded and educated, knowledgeable youngster, and especially in his time, he had outstanding wealth of experiences already as a child. He was prophesied by Nathan the prophet to his father David regarding that he will build the temple for the Lord. And Solomon was more than willing to step into this destiny. King Solomon experimented throughout his entire life with earthly pleasures and recorded his experiences in a journal. This book is practically a record of his inner processes, answering the question, is there meaning to life without God? The nature of his wisdom extended to leadership, gluttony, building and architecture, poetry and music, business, and wielded power of politics. When we talk about music, it is quite remarkable. His father, King David, passed down to him his skills of playing the lyre. That actually, just on the sidelines, would like to mention that King David himself has received this knowledge and skill from his grandmother, Ruth. Yes, she was the writer of the book of Ruth, the grandmother of King David, and it looks like a family tradition passed down. So King Solomon has received a remarkable education. Now, as I mentioned, King Solomon has been writing a personal journal, a success journal. Today we know this document or scroll as the book of Ecclesiastes. He recorded here his entire wealth of wisdom and his internal dialogues about is there a meaning to life apart from God? This success journal is filled with strategies for success. I will mention here only from chapter 11 a few of the examples, and it will be a subject for a different course to study this material deeper. But in Ecclesiastes, the chapter 11, verses 1 to 2, cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt bind it after many days. Give a portion to 7, and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. Let's define heavenly success. Success in this world does not guarantee success in the next. Solomon failed God by the end of his life. He was forgiven for his pleasuresome and pleasure-seeking lifestyle, but he could not be forgiven for idolatry. Joseph was faithful till the end, and he achieved heavenly success because he waited on the Lord. Solomon was unequally yoked, and he harvested the rewards of wandering off into Queen Sheba's lifestyle and worship life. But Joseph waited upon the Lord at all times. If opportunity is preparing for God's timing, then waiting will never be boring. When the time is ready, God will meet you exactly where you are. Are you going to be ready? And how much are you going to be ready? How much are you going to be ready for? While God is preparing for the right time, He is also guiding you how to get prepared yourself. Don't make God wait for you longer than necessary. Take a moment to evaluate yourself and see what God's objectives are to achieve in you. While you have no idea what He's preparing you for, you can pray to give you the insight into your own growth. What do you need to accomplish within yourself so you could be the highest and best use for the Lord's purposes? Whatever they may be, it is the highest honor to be used by God to the fullest of our potential. And under all of God's commandments and under all of God's statutes, there is only one instruction. Be holy, the ultimate preparation for mission. Be holy. Is your time of preparation pleases Him? Are you bearing spiritual fruit to His glory? Are you enjoying it? Are you making Him wait on you unnecessarily? King Solomon had unlimited freedom before he was able to indulge in, and therefore he was able to indulge in pleasures. During times God required him to wait. In fact, there was not many such occasions, since he had the power to make things happen when nothing was going on. But Joseph had to wait in the pit for God to have mercy upon him. And he has learned humility. He waited in slavery and learned to serve others with excellence. He waited in the prison and learned administration and leadership. He waited while in power and he had to wait for resolution of the past hurts. And he learned to forgive and confront those who had hurt him with tact and love. Therefore, he glorified the Lord with his life all the way to the end. His arduous challenges kept him on task and faithful to God. He bore spiritual fruit throughout his life and certainly lived as someone we will see in heaven. Waiting for God has tremendous benefits. It helps to avoid costing the price of mistakes, poor choices, or unfulfilled potential, which is the greatest loss of any life, and for heaven. Waiting also helps to develop a godly character. Faith, perseverance, and self-control are just a few. Waiting results in God's approval. Therefore, whatever He approves, He will always provide for and will follow up with His own counsel all along. Heavenly success begins with the definition of success. And I would like to give you my version of success with God's sense, the way I see it interpreted from the Bible. Well, Solomon was given all the opportunity, all the preparation, resources, provision, and connection, power and entitlement to be a winner. And he was, to begin with, also worthy. He didn't only fail God in the last days when he was more concerned about pleasing Queen Sheba than putting God first, but he failed throughout his youth as well by living a pleasure-seeking and rebellious life. And he admits to it in his journal in the book of Ecclesiastes. He was a sober man when he wrote his records, and his conclusions on wisdom learned from his extreme experiments into the pleasures of the flesh. He was quite cynical at times. God willingly forgave him for all his sins, but the last one. Joseph, in the other hand, was faithful till the end in face of his adversities. If success is going to heaven, then being faithful till the end is heavenly success. Our success to win a heavenly life is also God's success of saving us. If he was not able to succeed at saving us, then his son has died in vain. Arriving to heaven is also God's success, therefore. It is what we refer to as glorifying God. And at the end, the definition for heavenly success is rewarded on earth. While on earth, man's greatest pleasure is to enjoy the fruits of his own labor, but that is only granted to him if he asks for it in prayer, and to the extent he invested into the kingdom of heaven, to the extent he has caused pleasure and joy unto the Lord. To enter the joy of the Lord, first we need to smell the roses in season, therefore enjoy the work we do while we are doing it. And then to remember the fragrance of roses when they are gone. And that is the recollection of our work have been done in times of season. And to see the legacy we leave behind in our family, in our children, in people we have mentored, in our relationships.